Welcome, weebs, gamers, and nerds alike. Isekai has completely taken over anime with at least a couple mid-tier trash, with the occasional shiny piece every now and then, every single season. Something about watching another person transported into a new world, usually through good old Truck-kun, really just strikes a chord. So, as a member of the trash Isekai community, today we're going over 10 of the best Isekai out there. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on more key content, and without further ado, let's get into the list. Kicking off this list, we have Overlord. Before we get into this, I'm going to let my good friend Alan explain just how much of a Gigachad Ainz is.
It's come to my attention that Isekai fans think they deserve rights, so I prepared a short 39-slide PowerPoint to prove them wrong. Let me tell you about myself. I come from a place called real life, where we use things like common sense and brains. I don't care about anime, I like women, and I'm always right. This is not a TED Talk, we will not be taking questions. Do you really think that the supreme being of the Great Tomb of Nazarick is even within the same hemisphere as Stinky Man in terms of raw aura? I look at Stinky Man. Stinky Man is stupid. He's stupid and dumb, and he looks like Kirito. Now look at Ainz. Aura. Power. Bones. And some have said, bones don't have flesh. How can his subjects partake in the pleasures of his flesh? And you're stupid and silly and dumb for even asking that question. On Urban Dictionary, user Just Let Me Take a Handle described Gigachads as the ultimate man whose mere presence is an irresistible aphrodisiac. His image alone is all you need to satisfy whatever yearnings you may have. They have body pillows of this man. Flesh is not a requirement. Now, let's take a look at the counter-argument. And I'm beginning to see your point. However, then I use my brain for more than 0.5 seconds, something I learned in real life, where we use facts and logic, and Sid from Eminence and Stinky is canonically referred to as Stinky Man in real life. Look at who this guy attracts. People, women of various humanoid shapes, and apparently random geeks on the internet. What do they all have in common? They are all people. Now, who does Ainz attract? Beautiful women, beautiful men, insect maids, insect barbarians, hamster monsters, princesses, kings, death knights, cockroaches, dragons!
This follows Momonga, who decided to log in one last time in a game called Yggdrasil, and reminisce until the servers shut down. Except, when they do, he isn't logged out and instead stuck in the game as his overpowered character, an undead mage. What follows is his slow acceptance into being an undead, losing more and more of his humanity as he starts building a kingdom to spread his name to try and find other players or members of his guild. The world building is actually pretty dang good, akin to, if not better than Slime at times, with fewer slow moments. The animation is pretty good as it's done by Studio Madhouse, and while it does have iffy CG, you kinda get used to it after a while. What really pushes this show up is the supporting cast, especially those of the Floor Guardians, from Albedo, who's obsessed with him, to Demiurge, who thinks he's way smarter than he really is. Each of them are well written, voice acted, and have cool designs. It also has a more mature take to different situations, with some dark moments, which help offset the funny over-the-top fan service and cringe moments. If you want a fun, darker, overpowered MC, this is definitely the anime for you. It also has plenty out there with 4 seasons and a movie. Next up, we have ReZero. This is most people's arguments for best isekai of all time, and for good reason. This follows Subaru Natsuki, who after dying gets reincarnated in a fantasy world, but doesn't really have any powers. He's just an ordinary guy, with the ability to return by death. This show doesn't shy away from anything, with some really tough moments as Subaru leans more and more on his ability to his psychiatric detriment. The world building is insane, and the writing behind Subaru and his interactions with other people make him feel so relatable, which is why people tend to gravitate towards this show. The music is amazing, and the animation is extremely well done, especially in the latest season. While this does have an overpowered character, he's used well and doesn't overshadow the main cast, and the growth we see of Subaru, Emilia, Beatrice, everyone really is exhilarating, makes you want to keep watching, making it not only an amazing isekai, but a great show in general. Next, we have Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation. Probably one of the most controversial anime out there, and for justifiable reasons. You can't deny this has some amazing storytelling, world building, and character writing in isekai, if not all of anime. The main character, Rudius, was a middle-aged shut-in NEET who died trying to save some girls and was reborn as a baby, and we see his journey from birth to 16 years old at the end of Season 2. What makes this show controversial is he still has his memories from being a 30-plus-year-old when he is a child, which obviously leads to some highly questionable moments as he's kind of a perv. However, Rudy was never meant to be likable. He is a detestable degenerate and not a good person at times, but his growth into becoming mature feels genuine and real. He makes mistakes, yes, but then we see him understand his mistakes and attempt to atone for them and grow so he doesn't do it again. The dialogue and interactions between characters is phenomenally written, leading to some very serious and hard-hitting moments like him and his half-sister talking about bullying and trying to make sure she doesn't turn out how he did in his old life, or Rudy's reunion with each of his family members. The animation is great, and while it is tough to watch and is not for everyone, you can't argue it isn't at least a well-written show. Next, we have Eminence in Shadow. Now, if you want someone who has aura and is a Gigachad, even more so than Einzul Gon, then this is your show. It definitely doesn't take itself seriously at all, which makes this work so well. The MC of the show, Sid, is a vigilante in the real world, and he's trained his body and skills to the absolute limit. But when he sees that he can't go any further, he dies and is reincarnated in a fantasy world and just wants to pull the strings from the shadows and run a huge criminal syndicate. He spins the tale of an evil cult that's out there to take out the world. Funny thing is, though, that cult he thought he made up actually exists and are pissed at his power fantasy he has going on. This show knows exactly what it is and doesn't take itself seriously at all. It takes pride in its edginess and even makes fun of it sometimes. And Sid is just the biggest megachad to ever exist. He has a huge ass harem of badass overpowered women he's saved and that become part of his group Shadow Garden. And all he really cares about is money and looking cool. Every single female that comes into contact with him or even sees his abilities becomes absolutely undeniably enthralled with him, royalty, warriors, and all. The animation is amazing. The sound design, dare I say, is some of the best out there, especially when he does his over-the-top cringy atomic scenes that are just so freaking cool. As of right now, I would go so far as to say this is one of my favorite isekai in general. So if you want some fun, thrilling, plot-filled anime with the biggest Gigachad out there, definitely do yourself a favor and check this out. Now we have Restaurant to Another World. On the complete opposite side of the spectrum, we have a really nice, relaxing show about cooking and eating good food in another world. A certain restaurant in the first basement level of a multi-tenant building in one corner of a shopping street near the office district. The historical restaurant, marked by a sign with a picture of a cat, is called Western Cuisine Nakoya. This restaurant looks completely normal throughout the week, but on Saturdays, it opens in a secret exclusively to some very unique guests. During these hours, doors in various areas of a parallel world open to allow customers of many different races and cultures to the restaurant. If you've seen Bartender, this has a very similar vibe and episode type, where each one, they make a food to cater to a new customer from all different walks of life, from lizardmen to elves to dragons and dwarves. Each one has their own story and motivations, and each meal suits their needs perfectly. It also helps the main chef is voiced by none other than Christopher Sabat in English, so really you can't help but be happy watching this show and definitely a bit hungry afterwards. Next, we have Sunny Boy. This is by far the weirdest, most out there, but surprisingly very engrossing isekai. This takes place on an ordinary summer vacation, except for the fact that Nagara's high school has mysteriously drifted into another dimension. As the students begin to develop strange new powers, will they work together to survive the alien environment and find a way home, or will they form factions and rivalries and turn on each other? The character writing is so unique and interesting, you just get invested right off the bat. It keeps twisting and turning with its complex message hidden in story paths covered in surrealism you can't really begin to unpack. It's one of those shows you can't really explain. It just kind of sticks with you until years later when you finally understand what exactly happened. The soundtrack is outstanding, and the animation by Madhouse is so different it sticks out in the best way. It really has its own identity. This is so severely overlooked and needs more people to talk about what the heck you just watched. Now we have Konosuba, easily one of the funniest anime out there, and it never really gets old. The animation's pretty good, the opening, especially OP2, are bangers, and the main cast could not be more likable. Kazuya, who's a NEET, died in a really sad way by being hit by a tractor moving 1 mile an hour, dying ass up. And his one gift to be reincarnated with, he chooses the goddess Aqua. Aqua is about as useless as it gets sometimes. Of course, there are times she's pretty cool, but most of the time she's just an alcoholic cheapskate who wants to be lazy. Then you have Megumin, who's a member of an all-powerful race who can use explosion magic. Except that's the only spell she can use, and she can only use it once a day. Then there's Darkness, who's a masochistic duchess who can't aim for anything. So what do you get when you mix the four together? An absolutely great time. I went into this after hearing how funny it was, and so I really tried not to find it funny, but dang it, this show is hilarious. There's so many great moments and the writing is perfect. It's not for everyone, but if you want a comedy or really like isekai, definitely check this one out. Next up, we have Dead Mount Deathplay. It's always nice when there's a nice kind of twist to an isekai to make it stand out among the endless sea of them, and this one's is fantastic. This is a reverse isekai where an extremely powerful necromancer is reincarnated into modern day Japan. This happens when a legendary hero nears victory against a necromancer known as the Corpse God, when things take an unexpected turn, and the Dark Sorcerer's final gambit, reincarnation magic. This last-ditch effort catches the brave fighter off guard, and now he's a boy named Polka Shinomiya, who just got assassinated, but is still intact. The world building again is great, and all of the characters are interesting and engaging, making you actually care about all of the small little side stories. This is from the creator of Durarara and Baccano, so it makes sense this is as good as it is and has such great twists and mysteries. It has 24 episodes, and hopefully we'll be seeing a lot more of it in the future. Now we have World's Finest Assassin. Another kind of fun twist where the goddess tries to find the best person at every occupation and sends them into the fantasy world to try and kill the hero before they end up causing the end of the world. We see different people like rappers, artists, samurai, and more get summoned, and eventually she lands on our main character, who was an assassin in his former life and is now Lu Tuathade, part of the Tuatha family who work as the nation's doctors as well as assassins behind closed doors. This concept is great, and seeing him put his new and old skills to use is entertaining, especially with the solid animation. Yes, he does have primarily female companions, however, the role actually fits and doesn't stick out like other shows. The choreography is pretty good, and the magic system is decently explained and explored. The opening kind of slaps, and all around it's fun seeing someone brought in to beat the hero instead of the Demon King, especially a trained assassin. Sadly, we only have one season right now, but hopefully we'll get more eventually. And to round out this list, we have Sword Art Online. Of course, you can't talk about the best isekai out there without mentioning the one that got the genre famous. When this came out, it took the world by storm, especially with the opening Crossing Field by Lisa. The story initially follows people who decide to play a game called Sword Art Online and end up getting stuck in the game, where if you die in the game, you die in real life. The only way to get out is to beat the game. The action is great, the animation is solid, and it really did a lot, especially at the time. The next season was kinda and even continuing after that, there were some moments and characters that were just so horribly written and had cringy dialogue. However, Alicization is actually really good. It has some outstanding, vibrant visuals with eargasm sound design and top tier fights, especially in the second part. This show was a pioneer in the isekai and gaming genre and helped push anime more and more into the mainstream. So with that, it just felt right to include it, even if it is not necessarily our favorite. That sums up our list for the best isekai out there. We did have to leave off some outstanding and criminally underrated ones, so let us know what your favorite are in the comments below. Check out our Twitch and TikTok for more geeky goodness. Leave a like and share if you enjoyed the video. Until the next video, keep on geeking on.